What is up, Today Nation? Welcome to a new episode of the Bengals Insiders YouTube show. Got Sam here along with me, Braeden Guthrie. Today's topic's pretty simple. Y'all have heard it by now. Andy Dalton is Dallas bound. The Bengals a few days ago released him. Didn't take Andy too long to find a new home. And before we kind of get into Andy to Dallas and what that could mean for him, I think regardless of what was going to happen with Andy, even if he was willing to take a pay cut, I think he always can never be on this team with Joe Burrow. I think the smart move was to give Joe Burrow this locker room because we've seen with teams past that a rookie star team may struggle a little, and that could divide up the locker room. The locker room be like, hey, let's put the veteran back in because we know he can help us win. And they're not in the long run. And I don't know if that would have happened with Joe Burrow if he started and Andy Dalton was the backup, but it's, my opinion, good to get rid of that risk. And we kind of saw that with Ryan Finley last year when in those 3 games. It's just Finley was terrible and the locker room was really frustrated. They knew if Andy was in, they probably won 2, maybe 3, not 3. They definitely won 1 of those games. So I think for just specifically that reason, Andy Dalton will never be on this team with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think for Andy Dalton, I don't think he wanted to be in that locker room with Joe Burrow. You know, he's a veteran quarterback. He's a good player. He's not trash. Like he's no scum. Like he knows what he's doing. He's been to 3 Pro Bowls. He definitely has a good reputation in the NFL. And so for him to, as a respectable quarterback, to be in that locker room with a 21-year-old or 23-year-old kid taking your job, that's not something that I think that's just not right for him. And so I think it was definitely a mutual parting of ways because it's not good for the team and it's not really good for Andy either. It's not good for his reputation, and now he gets a fresh start in Dallas.
Yeah, and Dallas is an interesting place for Andy. Obviously, he's from Texas. He went to TCU. He already has a home in Texas, so he's basically at home where he grew up. But the situation there is he's not going to be going and starting unless something happens with Dak. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty with Dak's longevity in Dallas as he was just recently franchise tagged, and he wants a lot of money that he's not worth, and I'm sure Dallas isn't going to give him what he wants, so there's definitely a lot of uncertainty there. Maybe that was an aspect that pulled in Andy, but Dak's probably not going to hold out, and because of that, that means Dak's going to be starting. So Andy still isn't starting, but when you look at all the teams in the NFL, there just really wasn't a place for him to go and start. Like Jacksonville was highlighted, but I think Jacksonville is really high on Minshew, and they want to give him a full year and see how that goes. And I think the ultimate plan there is to get Trevor Lawrence. But even though there's the Jay Gruden connection, I think Jacksonville has their guy in Minshew as of now. The Patriots, they're going all in on Stidham, another quarterback. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. Probably not greatly, but the Patriots and their late-round quarterbacks, you just never know. But they're just not really a situation for Andy. I find Dallas an interesting one with Dak and his contract situation, and maybe there is something there for Andy in the next year or 2.
Yeah, I think the trade market was certainly dead, and I think a lot of those teams that Andy could have potentially started for, those offers kind of died when you look at next year's draft and you've got Trevor Lawrence and potentially Justin Fields in that next draft class. You know, there's not much of an incentive to get Andy on a 1-year rental and then ship him out again at the end of the year. It doesn't really move the franchise anywhere. You have a wasted 8-8 season where you're not really going to go anywhere and you're not going to get a good pick. So I think that trade market was kind of dead, and I think it was also dead on terms of the Bengals. They weren't going to trade Andy Dalton away for a 7th-round pick. He's just worth too much to the franchise, or had been worth too much to the franchise. So it was kind of a crapshoot. There really just wasn't much for him to go there. So now he gets to go home. He gets to wait it out and see what happens with Prescott. And so in the end, that ended up being the best move for Andy, for sure.
Yeah, and this was kind of just an unfortunate situation for both parties, the Bengals and Andy Dalton, because this was such an unusually strong quarterback free agent class. You're just the other teams had the leverage. It's, oh, why would we give a third or fourth for Andy when we can just sign Cam Newton or Jacoby Brissett, who hasn't been released yet, but I don't know on top of my head. But point being, there's a lot of quarterbacks on the market. So, and I think no team would be looking at Andy as a long-term solution. I think the only team that was possibly looking at it was the Bears, the fourth for Nick Foles, and I believe that was really the only legit team in the trade talks with the Bengals. And Bengals thought Nick Foles to the Bears was smokescreen. They were trying to get more for Andy, but it turns out not being smoke. It's easy to get on the Bengals for maybe overvaluing Andy, which I get, but at the same time, if I was told Nick Foles to the Bears for a fourth, or if you don't, or probably what happened in the trade talks is, hey, give us Andy, we'll give you a fourth. If you don't want the fourth, we got Jacksonville, who we're getting Nick Foles for a fourth. So either you match it or not. The Bengals probably still added smoke. Obviously it wasn't. But if I was in the Bengals' shoes, I would not be believing Foles for a fourth with that contract. But regardless, it was just not a great scenario for the Bengals to be in trade talks. It was not a great scenario for Andy in this strong free agent class. So at the end of the day, Andy Dalton finds himself back home. And good for him. Hopefully he'll get a starting chance. Maybe Dak does hold out. Maybe we don't want to see anybody get hurt, but maybe there's a situation where Dak can't play and Andy can play. And I would imagine he would have a fair amount of success when we got guys like Amari Cooper, Gallup, now CeeDee Lamb. I definitely feel like if he ever got the shot to play in Dallas, he would have a pretty good run there.
Yeah, and I think on behalf of the Cowboys, it's a good signing because now you finally have somebody who can hold Dak Prescott accountable. Now Dak he's replaceable now. There's somebody that can take his spot right away, and I think that's going to keep him in check. I think for Andy, it's a good move because if you hold on Dak being Dak, and if Dak does anything where he starts to screw up, Andy Dalton's going to get that chance. And he's got 1 year to prove what he's got to another team where he can maybe get a respectable deal towards the end of his career. So it's definitely the best move that Andy could have got. He definitely made something out of a bad situation there.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to follow. It's obviously only a 1 year contract, so you have to imagine if there is a falling through with Dak and the Cowboys, he'd like to stay in Dallas. If not, he's the backup all year. He may reevaluate his options next free agency. So it's just something to follow. And that's really all I have for this video. Is there anything else you want to add before we head out?
No, I mean, I think that sums it up pretty well. Not too much to overanalyze about this move at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So good luck to Andy. I think a good majority of the Bengals fans are rooting for him. And I just hope we get to see him succeed there. He's a guy who definitely deserves success. Thank you guys for watching. Stay alerted, turn on the notifications so you're alerted of our next video. Leave a like. It really helps us out. If you have any thoughts, give us a comment. Today.